I forgive you, but we can no longer be friends. I forgive you, however, I can't continue this relationship. I forgive you, but Allah is most forgiving. Assalamu alaikum, sister. Let's talk about forgiveness. Many of us know that there are 3 stages of Ramadan. In the first stage, or the first 10 days of Ramadan, they are the days of mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the second 10 days, which we are currently in, it is known as the days of forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in the third stage, or the last 10 days of Ramadan, this is known as the days of safety from hellfire. Although I am trying to be forgiving, something we are personally advised to do before we even enter the holy month of Ramadan, and sincerely something we should be trying to do in general, I am struggling, and to be sincere, this is ruining my Ramadan. At one point in life, I said there is no, rule book for forgiveness, but in Islam there is guidance. I have been reading specific parts of the Qur'an that mention forgiveness and the stories behind it, also listening to lectures that advise on forgiveness, looking at hadith on forgiveness, reading general books that touch on forgiveness, or books of the Deen that touch on forgiveness. I have also come across stories of the Prophet's life, peace be upon him, when dealing with the death of his uncle Hamza, and how he dealt with Wahshi ibn Harb and Hind bint Utbah. After all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is most forgiving, so who am I not to forgive someone who has wronged me? Yet the statement is not so easily uttered. What I have come to realize is that forgiveness of fellow beings takes work. So after all this, I try to move on, and here's where I land. I may greet you with salam, but we will not communicate like that of the past. Or I forgive you, but I need my space and boundaries, and that is that. I don't owe anyone any additional explanations. So then I begin to ponder, have I really forgiven you? Have I really forgiven that person? Or do we fear forgiving people? So think about it. Sometimes you may fear forgiving someone because you don't want to be pushed back into how things were in the past. And that's the reality of a lot of things. People can hold it against you if you're like, okay, I forgive you, but things have changed. I'm not comfortable being in that particular situation anymore with you. And then there's also the case of, why can't people accept my personal method of forgiving? Why aren't the new boundaries that I set for myself acceptable? Some may say, oh, she hasn't really forgiven that person because she won't return to her former self. What if severe trust was broken? What if, the new boundaries I set for myself brought me closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Which of his favors would I then deny? Being able to forgive someone or let go of grudges is an individual journey that can manifest itself in many ways. Forgiving someone can take seconds, days, years, a lifetime, or it may not occur at all. Likewise, holding on to grudges and not forgiving someone can also manifest itself in many ways. Some of us become sick from holding on to the pain caused by those who have trespassed against us or wronged us in some way. Some of us are unable to move on in life and remain stuck. Some of us also become angry with our Creator. And this, I believe, is the real danger. The place we don't want to be is to be distanced from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what is the best thing to do? Forgive them for your sake? Forgive them for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It is easy to say, forgive, right? The words are easy to say. And sometimes what we think is that the person telling me this perhaps hasn't experienced what I experienced. So they have no right, they have no precedence to tell me what I should be doing. However, we should return to the words of our Deen, first and foremost, before anybody's advice, even my own advice as I'm speaking to you. And the work it takes to learn forgiveness can be heavy. So as we return to the Qur'an, there are many places in the Qur'an that talk about forgiveness. One of them is in Surah An-Nur, verse 25. It states, "Do not let the people of virtue and affluence among you swear to suspend donations to their relatives, the needy, and the immigrants in the cause of Allah. Let them pardon and forgive. Do you not love to be forgiven by Allah? And Allah is all forgiving, most merciful." This particular verse is connected to the slander of Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her. Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, someone slandered his daughter's name and he had vowed not to pay the charity that was due. and it was revealed that do what you intend to do in terms of paying, and try to overlook or forgive the slander against, Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her. In Surah An-Nisa, verse number 149, if instead you show some good or conceal it or pardon an offense, indeed Allah is ever pardoning and competent. This particular verse just talks about forgiveness and forgiving and pardoning being Allah's most beautiful names, a divine attribute. So we are encouraged to also take that as a message. Allah is most forgiving. He is the pardoner. So that we should also try to do what we can to forgive and pardon others. So as I've been looking at different sources, it's just a reminder that to forgive someone is just not from somebody telling you to forgive them. It may help prompt you to start to consider your own journey of forgiveness, but by me telling you, it may not be enough. So I encourage you to put in some work. That work is not for the other person. The work is for you. So for you to be okay in this dunya. What you hold on to your heart can manifest itself in many ways. It could be blocking your blessings, your happiness, the bright light, the nur that is your future, your present. You could be so angry at someone that you don't enjoy the food you eat, the children that are an amana or a trust to you. You may not enjoy the health that you currently have because you're so upset. Your health could be deteriorating because of the weight that it is on your heart. So forgiveness is not for somebody else. It is for you. And there's one thing that I wanted to read from the Timeless Seeds of Advice. This is by Bibi Abdulla, and this is on page 98. It says, Ibn Ata'Allah al-Iskandari said, nothing is difficult if you seek it through your Lord, and nothing is easy if you seek it through yourself. We don't have all the answers as human beings. And that's why I encourage us to search, to research, to dig deep into literature, to dig deep into the Qur'an, into the Sunnah, to look for ways to help you. These words can guide you. I'm a firm believer that these words can be of guidance. Some of you may need additional resources such as therapy. You may need to talk to a professional. Another book that I think is awesome. I wanted to read more of this during the month of Ramadan, but we have to prioritize our focus in Ramadan. But something I thought is really great is this book by Aliyah Umm Raiyaan. I bought this specifically for Ramadan. It's a guided book during the month of Ramadan. And she talks about forgiving others. And I thought that this is a really good book, a really good chapter, and a really good way to start thinking about ways to forgive others. Imam al-Ghazali, The Alchemy of Happiness. The Alchemy of Happiness, I believe, comes in a big book, but it's also broken up into different chapters, so you'll have to do a little bit of research about whether you want the book or the individual chapters. And that's where, sister, I hope that Insha'Allah this short message has been beneficial to you. We're still in the month of Ramadan. There's still time for you to seek your Lord's forgiveness and to really try to mend your heart and to, become a better version of yourself and to continue on your journey of healing so that you can find happiness and connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't give up. Do a little bit of work for yourself. The work looks different for everybody, but the answer is within your Deen. The answer is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Insha'Allah, I hope this video has been beneficial for you. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Ma salam.